What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the MontyVerse. We are fresh out of the big D23 Expo panel that featured Marvel and Lucasfilms, and one of those companies brought it today. The other one kind of brought some stuff. But we're here to talk about all of it. We're here to talk about the things we liked, the things we didn't like, and all of the major news. But joining me today is a fabulous panel of guests. I have frequent collaborator Dan Bettenhausen of the Fancast at 4 podcast. Hello, Dan.
Hi there, Monty.
I have some say his name with an H, but I know it's with a K. Zach McDonald. What's up, Zach?
What up?
And we have a first-time guest of the MontyVerse, hyper-talented musician, athlete, and star of Class Action on the PLD projects, Matty Gunner. What's up, Mr. Matty Gunner?
I'm the star. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Someone finally recognized my brilliance.
I see talent. And
That's why I've jumped ship for the evening. I'm now I'm where the talent is right now. Sorry, Paul.
Boom, boom. Let's do it. Guys, let's start right away. We're going to start with Star Wars, a show that I know that all of us are really looking forward to, and that's Andor. We got the final trailer. We got some tidbits. They brought the cast on stage to talk a little bit, but pretty much that final trailer was stuff that we've already seen before. I don't think we needed it. I think I'm so excited for this show that being there was just like cherry on top. But what'd you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was mostly the stuff that we had seen in the special look that was on Disney Plus earlier in the week. But there was a couple extra scenes in there. I'm pretty sure that were not part of that, so it was nice to see those. I don't know. Like you said, I think what we got out of that very first trailer was more or less all I needed. And everything I've seen since then has just sort of built my anticipation more and more. The special look earlier this week with that whole, we get kind of that extended scene between Cassian and I don't know what that other character's name is.
Loven Rail.
So yeah, that scene was incredible, and it just sort of solidified in my mind that this show is going to be an absolute banger. So
yeah, and I'm with you there. I think the big thing is it just kind of reiterates that the show is going to be one of the more highly produced, especially like visually, location, set, however they're doing it, is going to be kind of at the peak of what Disney Plus has been doing with Star Wars shows so far, and that's what I'm looking forward to most, just the aesthetic of it.
Yeah.
And one of the main things I took from the trailer for Andor, this final one, is the stakes for Genevieve O'Reilly as Mon Mothma. Like, we're seeing her, she's still very much part of the Imperial Senate. Like, the rebellion hasn't been totally formed yet. It's kind of like House of Cards in that kind of political thriller kind of way. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Absolutely. And this show looks gorgeous. I know that for most of us here, I know me and Zach talk about it a lot, but we have a problem with overuse of the volume, and the lack of interesting looks that it gives these Disney Plus Star Wars series. But I think this show changes that completely. This show looks really, really good. Yeah. I mean, basically the news that came out of the Andor section was that Season 1 and 2, they said it was a 24-episode spy thriller. Diego Luna described Season 1 as a 12-episode film. Season 2 is close to beginning production and filming. And they just showed off some new character posters, revealing that the first 3 episodes will release on Disney Plus on September 21st. But this is all stuff we knew already. I don't think we could get any more hype than we already are for Andor. So, unless you guys have anything left to say on it, I think we could move on.
I think the only other thing was, I think these last few peeks at the show, we've seen some more Saw Gerrera, which I'm interested to see how much he plays in, because from Rogue One, there's certainly maybe inference that he knew of Cassian or vice versa, but we are led to believe that this is the first time they've met. So how much a role Saw plays in the show, whether it's just a cameo, a small part away from the main story, I'm interested to see, because they have shown him a few times now in the last bits of media we've gotten on the show.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see some of Saw Gerrera's radicalization taking place, right? Because we know from even back from Clone Wars, that he's a bit of an extreme dude. But we get the impression in Rogue One that the partisans were not always as extreme as they are by the time we get there. So it'd be interesting to see if maybe he's a little bit more, on board with the rebellion at this point in time, and sort of what happens that makes him move further away from them.
Yeah, and then you go into the more expanded stuff in like the Rebel Rising book, where he does some really heinous things that I think in this one it's going to be a case of we're going to find out why you shouldn't root for Saw Gerrera. And it comes back to that line in Rogue One from Cassian's own mouth that they had to do terrible things for the rebellion, and I think we're going to see somewhat of that in this show.
Yeah, again, the show looks fantastic. The show looks really, really good, and I think we're all excited for it. But let's move on to a show that kind of gets glossed over a lot, but it is returning, and we do have a new release date for it, and that is The Bad Batch Season 2. We were told that Season 2 will premiere on January 14th, and it will consist of 16 episodes with a 2-episode premiere. What were your guys' thoughts on The Bad Batch? How did you kind of leave off with the season? Because I enjoyed bits and pieces of it. I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as I did the other Star Wars animated series of past, but I am definitely looking forward to its return, and I am going to watch it when it premieres. But what did you guys think of The Bad Batch?
I think it got better. I was not looking forward to it, honestly, at the start when it first came out. The first few episodes really didn't assuage that concern. I think the show got better as it went on. I was starting to get a little tired of the trope, especially in Star Wars, of older characters having to mind this special younger character. Not that I don't like the trope, it's just we're getting a lot of it in media lately. But I think as the show ended, my interest in it certainly, I was looking forward to it more and more as the season went on. And I will say I'm looking forward to the new season, but I wouldn't say it's still lower on the list of as far as other things we're getting in the Star Wars world.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in that same sentiment.
Yeah, and I agree with Dan 100% about like when it first was announced and when it was first coming out, I was not particularly excited. It was the couple episode arc that they had in the Clone Wars was not my favorite by any means. So I wasn't too excited about it. And then especially after the first couple episodes, I thought they missed on a couple story beats that I think they could have done differently. But to Dan's point, I do think it got better as it went on. And by the end of it, it was something that I was sort of like making sure I tuned in for like as soon as I could when it dropped. So yeah, I will say like I'm not anywhere near as hyped for it or for this new season as I am for something like Andor. But it's new Star Wars content, and I think given the trajectory of the first season, I think we're probably in store for some pretty good stuff. So
fair enough.
Yeah, and it was like I was kind of the same. There were some parts of Bad Batch that I did enjoy. There were some parts that I could have personally done without. I understand that the character of Crosshair has rapidly become one of my favorites because of the whole plot of, the other members of Clone Force 99, they just abandoned him. They left him on Camino to be brainwashed. And it was kind of like, as the chip slowly starts to wear off, he slowly realizes like, no, you think I'm coming after you guys because of this chip in my head? No, I'm coming after you guys because you left me here. And that was the stuff that really like stuck with me. But all the other stuff, I was just kind of like, yeah. And spoiler alert, but Cad Bane showing up was pretty sweet. But
yeah, a lot of Cad Bane showing up in things last year. But moving on from that, pretty much the Bad Batch. That's all I really want to touch on with that. I think I'm just excited to see where the show goes. I don't think I want to say anymore. But this I am really excited to talk about because we got our first trailer, our first real look at Tales of the Jedi, and this show looks amazing. It has that final season Clone Wars animation. It looks so good. It's exploring characters in time periods that I really wanted to know more about. We're getting young Dooku. We're getting young Qui-Gon. Like, that to me is such a draw. So interesting. What did you guys think of the trailer for Tales of the Jedi?
I was a little split on it. I liked all of the young Dooku and Qui-Gon stuff. The Ahsoka Anakin stuff, I feel like, I don't know, like we've seen it all. I've seen all of that I need to see. Like, look, I'm gonna watch it and I'm probably gonna enjoy it, but it doesn't get me excited in the same way that certain other stories do. But who knows? Maybe they'll surprise me and it'll be something really compelling. I thought the final season of Clone Wars, they pulled off a lot of things that I wasn't expecting them to, making me care about things that I thought I was kind of over. But yeah, I would say at this point, seeing young Dooku is pretty much like the peak of my list as far as this show goes. And I think, what was it, 6 shorts? Is that what they said?
I think so.
Yeah.
All dropping at once.
Oh, all dropping at once too. Okay. So that's interesting. I wonder how long they will be, because I'm hoping they're at least like a half hour plus.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I hope they're at least that long. Yeah, but what about my girl Yaddle?
Oh,
Hey,
dude, I
that
totally
was-
forgot to mention Yaddle when they're fighting. That's
And I think that's what I'm most excited about the show. Like, I love seeing young Qui-Gon, like seeing more Mace Windu stuff. I love the looks of the Togruta, like both the elder one and little Ahsoka. But I think I'm excited more for the potential of this show and where it could lead. Because before we went live, I was mentioning to Maddie and Monty that I just want more Jedi stories, like early Jedi, the birth, like the founding of the Jedi, stuff like that. So if we can use this show as a future springboard for past Jedi stories, even outside of New Republic, Rebellion era, Empire era, stuff like that, like that's what I'm hoping this show becomes, or this bit of shorts becomes in the future.
So real quick, Maddie, before you jump in, let me just ask Dan: Have you read any of the High Republic stuff?
I read the first one. I just, time and whatnot's kept me from other stuff, so I'm interested in it, but I'm more likely to consume the visual stuff more so than the books or even the audiobooks, just with the current landscape of my time and availability.
Yeah, I think with the High Republic stuff, they are showing that they're not like shying away from earlier era stuff.
Right.
So I think they probably will eventually move some of these animated shows into that time period.
I hope so.
Especially because there's a lot of great characters that you could pull from the High Republic, like my guy Geode, who's essentially just a rock.
Mhm.
But
Oh yeah.
But with this, the one thing I'm really looking forward to is the dynamic between Dooku and Qui-Gon. We know Liam Neeson's coming back to voice Qui-Gon, which is going to be pretty damn cool. But we know the reasons that Dooku left the Order, and he even said the main line that I took from the trailer was, I saw the coming darkness, like you chose not to see it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, now we know where Qui-Gon got that from.
Yeah.
He got it from Dooku. Now we know where Obi-Wan got it from, where Anakin got it from. And it's just like this current theme of the Jedi were wrong about a lot of things.
Mhm.
And like they're portrayed as like these white knights and these heroes, but they weren't what a lot of people thought they were.
And that's why I find Dooku such an interesting character, because I don't think so much he turned to the dark side. He just turned away from the Jedi, and because he felt his mission leaving the Republic was right and just, and he had to use use Palpatine, use Sidious as kind of a means to an end in that regard. But I don't look at him as so much of a zealot of the dark side, but so disillusioned by the Jedi and the Republic that's why he split away. And I hope we get to see the lead up into that.
I kind of see him as somebody where it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I think probably he probably turned away from the Republic and with no intentions of, falling into the dark side. But when he turned away from them, sort of the dark side was there, open arms waiting for him. And he sort of experienced sort of what he was capable of. I don't think at the end of episode 2, where, he's talking about all the things he's learned and how much more powerful he can become through the dark side, I don't think that's an accident or him blustering. I think he really means it. Like, there's a whole world of the Force out here that we're not exploring, and you'd be shocked by what you can do. So That's kind of my thought on Dooku.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And him wielding a blue lightsaber, I thought was pretty cool.
That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Mace Windu in there too, right?
Yeah. Mace was in there. Yaddle was in there. We have young Ahsoka. We have Clone Wars era Ahsoka and Anakin. So we're definitely
Have
going
an
to be jumping
Inquisitor
around.
as well. Shout out to my side characters.
Yes, Maddie, you did bring up a good point. The masked character was listed as an Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Or an Inquisitor. So that's very interesting to see what they do with that. Having a character called an Inquisitor around during prequel era Star Wars, because that seems to be when all of these are taking place.
Yeah, because I thought it was with Ahsoka that we saw that. So yeah, that would be right in that kind of Clone Wars time period. Which would also that would be kind of weird because everything we've seen of the Inquisitors so far is that they work under Vader. So if this is pre-Vader, then
the dawn of the Inquisitors or something.
Yeah, it could be like maybe a trial of the Inquisitorius program.
Or the first Inquisitor, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought that was really cool. I just think that this show is such a good way to expand the lore and give us these great character interactions that we haven't gotten before, and maybe they don't want to do a whole series about, and they don't want to it's like, oh, you want Qui-Gon and Dooku? Here's a 30-minute short about Qui-Gon and Dooku. Oh, you want Yaddle, who's quite possibly
I don't know anybody that's saying they don't want a full series of Yaddle. Okay, you ask anyone if that's what they want, you're getting a resounding yes. Right?
Yaddle is the second greatest character in Star Wars, the first being someone we will talk about later.
Yeah, I just hope they do a second season and we get to see like some High Republic stuff, some Old Republic stuff, and my guy Plo Koon. Let my guy Plo Koon get an episode. Come on.
I would say, you touched on something. I remember playing the old Xbox Jedi Starfighter, and he was a big character in that because he was like an ace pilot. I would love to see like the Jedi Squadron or something out there in their Jedi Starfighters doing Jedi starfighting stuff. More of that too.
Yeah, more parkour in Star Wars.
Plo Koon.
Plo Koon. Parkour. Plo Koon. All right. But yeah, I think we're all excited for that. But moving on to a show that everyone was expecting footage from this, but we didn't get any footage from this. We did get some stills and some snippets of information. And that is Ahsoka, the Ahsoka series. Maddie, I know that you saw footage of Ahsoka at Star Wars Celebration, but us people who were not there did not see any footage. But we did get a brand new look at Sabine. It's a different angle of the shot of her standing at the mural of the Ghost crew from Rebels. And yeah, I'm personally excited for this series because Star Wars Rebels is one of my favorite pieces of Disney Star Wars content. It's one of my favorite pieces of Star Wars content in general. I love that series. I love the characters in the series. And I'm really excited to see kind of Dave Filoni tell an Ahsoka story through utilizing pieces from Star Wars Rebels. So that has me excited about the show. But what did you guys think about Ahsoka? Are you kind of disappointed we didn't get more than that from the series?
I saw an article yesterday from someone on Lucasfilm saying that Ahsoka is Dave Filoni's magnum opus. So it's, this is going to be big. The footage that we did see a lot at Celebration was essentially, this is going to be live action Rebels. And that has a lot of people very excited. So am I a little bit bummed we didn't see a lot of it? A little bit. But at the same time, they've got so much stuff coming out. There's so much stuff that they need to promo that I'm not surprised that we didn't get anything more than the promo shot of Sabine.
Yeah, this is the one show I kind of don't want anything. I know we're going to get something eventually. I'd rather just go into this show blind, knowing a lot of these characters already from Rebels. Oh, we lost our host.
We lost our host.
Well, anyway, so Ahsoka. I would certainly take anything we get, any trailers. I will consume the shit out of it. But I would love to just kind of know when it drops, not know anything else, and get to enjoy it. I think it's kind of cliche that Ahsoka's started off as a really hated character and now a really loved character. I'm certainly in that camp. And I'm excited to see her take over from what we got from Mandalorian and a little bit of Book of Boba Fett. So,
The one thing I do wish we got was the casting of Thrawn. I know it's going to be a while off, but that was one thing that I was kind of like, oh, I hope that, Lars Mikkelsen is the one to be playing him.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about this show is I have not been particularly shy about saying it, but Filoni and Favreau, their live action shows have sort of not quite matched my own personal Star Wars sensibilities. I have not enjoyed them as thoroughly as a lot of other people. I know most people love Mandalorian. I think Mandalorian's just okay. I think Book of Boba Fett I thought was maybe the worst Star Wars content we've ever gotten. Did not like it at all. And I worry that Ahsoka is going to be closer to the Book of Boba Fett, where it's going to be lots of cameos, lots of just I don't know, this whole concept of look, there's a thing, remember? And look, there's another thing, remember? To me, all of that stuff is totally meaningless. I do not want references to references to references. I just want, good stories. And I don't know. I worry about Filoni and Favreau falling into the trap of just being reference machines instead of telling the story. I just want to tell the story. So
I understand that. But here's why I would counter that it's okay,
Ron. Chill, bro. Jeez.
I agree with Ron. You can be a moron. But anyway, I would counter argue that with Rebels is the one show that we were given an open end to. It's the perfect show to pick up the baton for, and instead of it being a character here, character there extravaganza, what if it continues that story from Rebels?
Yeah, if they truly just make it a continuation, a live action continuation of Rebels, then yeah, I'm all on board. I love Rebels. So if that's what we're doing, then I'm all for it. But I don't know. I
can confirm we're getting Chopper.
Makes me nervous.
Yeah, Chopper. It was in the footage, and Hera. I saw the stills of the back of Hera Syndulla.
So the only person I don't think we've heard of though is Zeb, correct?
Yes. I don't believe that there was nothing at Celebration, right, Maddie?
No, nothing about Zeb at Celebration.
He's the only original cast member who's still presumably alive now that we haven't heard some sort of casting for.
Well, Hot Callus. Good guy Callus.
Yeah. That's fair. Wouldn't say he's part of the main cast, but he's part of the cast, certainly.
Oh, by the end, he's part.
Yeah,
of
by the end, I guess. Okay.
And there's obviously, as I said, Thrawn. We're still waiting on that. But I feel like it's signed, sealed, and delivered that Lars Mikkelsen's going to be the guy.
Hopefully.
There's no reason. I mean, he fits the bill as far as look and obviously voice for it.
Yeah, and he has the on-screen presence to portray the character.
Right.
So I don't see why they wouldn't just do that. But, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, Jerry. Zeb and Callus are at Zeb's homeworld.
That's a good point.
They're being best friends.
Jerry, I'll give you that one thing that you said right.
That one thing, Jerry. They're best friends. They're doing Hot Boy Sundays, dude. They're having Hot Boy Summer. Okay? Let them be. Let them rest. They deserve it. Okay?
We'll get them in season 2.
We'll get them in season 2. We'll get them in season 2 of Ahsoka, everybody. Coming soon to Disney+. But anyway, after that, we got our first look at Skeleton Crew, starring young child actor Jude Law.
Yeah.
And,
acclaimed child actor Jude Law.
Very famous young adult actor Jude Law.
Totally.
And Jon Favreau brought John Watts on stage, and he announced that they wrapped filming yesterday. We got a first look at Jude Law's character. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know really much about this series. I know it's the young adult Star Wars show. That's what they're toting it as, correct?
Yeah.
But besides that, do any of you guys, Maddie, I know that you were at Celebration. Do you remember any other tidbits about the show that they revealed there?
So what John Watts said was this is a show that stars kids, but it's not for kids. and it's about a group of different species of children that get lost in the galaxy and they try to find their way home. So it's essentially like the Goonies, the Warriors, like that kind of a vibe, but put in Star Wars.
I kind of like that.
Red Dawn.
That can be used very well to tell a scary story, because space is horrifying. And especially if you don't know where you're going or how to get where you need to go, it's a very scary place.
Yeah, I mean, I'm preparing for some backlash from Ron here, but I famously don't like child actors, so I'm worried. I'm worried about this.
Ron, you know what to do, Ron.
So I don't know. I don't know much about this. Look, Jude Law's great. Love Jude Law, but
I thought you hate child actors.
Noted child actor Jude Law.
If this show is just going to be a bunch of kids, then I don't know if it's going to be for me. All right, that's all.
Not everything will be.
I'll give it a shot, but yeah, I mean, that's fine. Not everything has to be for me. I'll give it a shot, but I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add outside of what we saw. I'll give it a shot. Like you said, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
But it's nothing announced has made me like, oh, I need to like get way more excited for it. I'm not yet, but I'm not looking forward to it, I guess.
Yeah. And really, basically, that leads us to the main thing, the main feature, if you will, of this Star Wars panel. It's The Mandalorian Season 3. And we were shown a trailer. And all I have to say is, hey, hey, Return of the Frick. Return of the Frick. Return of the Frick.
I just want to see how long you keep saying it.
Frick. I would like for Babu Frick. I would go forever.
I mean,
because
we can stop this live stream and then just go record another Babu Frick video.
Record another Babu Frick appreciation video.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, you guys will see this in our trailer reaction. My face lit up like a small child on Christmas when I saw jacked Babu Frick pop up in this trailer.
Dude is
Count his abs.
Absolutely diesel. Okay.
Count his abs.
Count his abs. He's just yoked out of his mind. He's come to help Din Djarin and his section of Mandalorians, and it's just I can't wait to see how he saves the day. I guess we should talk about the other stuff in the trailer, but the most important thing.
Yeah, I do want to talk about the trailer because I did just get done saying that I don't really care for the Mandalorian that much, but this trailer looks incredible because I think probably Mando is as we get further away from COVID times, I think they're probably going to be more likely to do a little bit more traveling, do some on-location shoots, less reliant on the volume. That's one thing we talked about with, yes, Jerry, that's exactly what happened. Less reliant on the volume. That's something we've talked about with Andor. Doing better in that regard. So I think the show is just straight away, it's going to look better in season 3 than I think it did previously. But also, it looks like we have a real sort of season-wide through line here with sort of the reclamation of Mandalore that I think will be very good for the story instead of sort of mission of the week that we've had for the last 2 seasons. So I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah, I'm also looking forward to the dynamic between him and Bo-Katan, who is being set up, at least via this trailer, to be the antagonist of the series. We were talking a little bit earlier. I'm excited to kind of explore the dichotomy between like the religious sect, like the ultra religious sect that he was part of, and now kind of excommunicated from, to this less zealous but still cult-like-ish Mandalorian group.
Yeah, the more old school, the more older factions of Mandalore.
And the fight, the political, physical, however, fight for the Darksaber too, which I think is going to be kind of the key aspect of the season. I like that we got some, I don't know the race offhand, the Salacious B. Crumb creatures made a pop up. There's a reference there for
Quacky and monkey lizard.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Dan, get good, Dan.
Yeah, I know.
I think this is the first time we've ever seen like wild Kowakian monkey lizards, just like in nature.
Yeah, they're usually in cages.
They're either in cages or on Jabba the Hutt's shoulder, one or the other.
But yeah, no, I agree with everything that's been said about. I'm looking forward to it. Kind of has a Game of Thrones vibe a little bit, like a lot of. Feel like it's going to be very political thriller heavy.
Yeah.
And seeing like all the different tribes is definitely going to, because from what we've been told, Mandalorian's been wiped out. We've been told that the planet was destroyed. We've been told that it's now made of glass. There's all these different variations of the story of what happened to Mandalore after the siege. So now we're just like, okay, now we're going to see Bo-Katan attempt to take the Darksaber back and take the throne back, because we know from history she hasn't had the greatest run of getting hold of the Darksaber. She had it given to her. So now all the Mandalorians are probably like, you didn't win that. Why should we listen to you? Like, you're not our ruler. You took it. Like, someone gave it to you. You borrowed it. And now someone else is just going to be like, I don't want it. Here you go. You can take it. It's like, no, there's certain rules and things that you go by to become the ruler of Mandalore. And that had to have been a hit on the ego, so she's going to want to challenge Din. I did get worried for Grogu. I didn't like that moment where she was like, did you think your dad was the only Mandalorian? And Grogu was looking like, oh, shit. Like, I might be in a little bit of trouble here. So I did worry for him. Maybe Babu Frick comes in. I did make the assumption that we're going to see maybe Babu Frick pilot the N1.
Yeah.
Yeah. The booster seat, but...
Yeah.
Well, if Star Wars wants my money, they better.
Yeah. Right.
Or maybe he'll just stand on Grogu's head. Grogu will be in the main seat. He'll stand on Grogu's head and
then they'll put a little trench coat on.
Try
to get into an R-rated movie.
The thing is, they'll still be like infant size at that
point. One thing that I am curious to see, though, is how Grogu is going to be used this season, because it seems like we're telling a different story now, right? We're not, season 1 and season 2 are very much about creating the bond between Din and Grogu and sort of getting him back to wherever he needs to be with the Jedi, presumably, right? And then, of course, season 2.5 of The Mandalorian, he gets Grogu back. So it's like, but this story of being these two Mandalorian factions sort of going up against one another, what exactly is Grogu's place in this story? I think that'll be interesting to see, and whether his character takes a little bit more of a, gets put on the back burner a little bit. They keep him there, obviously, as part of the story, but he's not as front and center anymore.
I do like how they keep referring to Din as his dad now. Like, that's an actual thing.
Yeah.
Like, Bo-Katan called him his dad. The armorer called him his dad. And I don't know why I'm absolutely stupid, but like, I just noticed watching this trailer that the armorer still has like the Mandalorian style helmet.
Oh yeah,
with like the small horns and everything.
Yep.
So I don't know if we're gonna get like some flashbacks to like that kind of time, but yeah, I took very much of a Din Djarin is like the Jon Snow of Star Wars here. He's like the boy who would be king but doesn't want to be. Bo-Katan wants the Darksaber back. She's going to have to fight Din for it, whether he wants to or not. It's going to be a case of, does he give his life for Mandalore, or does he just say, you know what, I don't care. I'm just going to walk away. I don't want this anymore.
Yeah, for a man that was so much, this is the way, he kind of has a fork in the road that he has to pick.
Yeah, he's going to find his way.
Mm-hmm.
The way of the Frick.
That's right.
There's only one path, and that's the path of Babu Frick. I mean, I just really want to know how they're going to incorporate that character in a way that to have him save Din Djarin in the season finale of season 3, but also make Din Djarin still look strong as a character. I'm really curious to see how the show is going to do that.
Right.
So,
and there's also like the big Endgame style event that Filoni and Favreau have talked about that I've often said I think is going to be the big final battle for Mandalore, and I think that's going to be heavily involve someone like Thrawn being like the new ruler of Mandalore, kind of a deal. But that's way down the line. We don't even need to like think about that right now.
season's about him caring about being a leader. That's good, Jerry. I like
that. Certainly a possibility.
Well, he's a dad. He's a papa. He's got to worry about baby first, and then everything else comes second.
His 50-year-old
baby that's older than him.
Listen, he's a papa, okay? Let it papas be popping. Don't.
He's definitely daddy.
He's
don't get Paulina started.
Pedro Pascal is that. Oh, dude,
Oscar Isaac and Pedro Pascal, the two daddies of Star Wars.
Yeah,
Babu Frick is the only daddy in my life. All right.
Obviously.
Did you count his abs?
Daddy Frick. There's like 12.
I mean, I tried to, but
too many.
I counted at least
a real quick shot.
I counted at least 8 abs.
Oh my god! All right, but you know what? Moving away from Star Wars and moving into Marvel, we have the much hyped up, the much built up Marvel Studios section of the D23 Expo panel. And we started off where we left off at San Diego Comic-Con, and that was with Wakanda Forever. There was some exclusive footage shown, and I have some snippets of information about the footage. We see Namor fighting M'Baku.
Cool.
And we see a bit of Namor's super strength because he shatters M'Baku's staff just by flexing his bicep.
Sick.
You know? So
I mean, who can't?
So people who are saying that Namor is not going to be strong, he's going to be super strong. He's going to be yoked. He has more abs than possibly Babu Frick. So don't worry about it.
Dude, take a chill pill.
We are also shown the Dora Milaje taking on the soldiers. I'm assuming the soldiers that we saw in the first trailer that are trying to steal vibranium. And this plays into the scene with Queen Ramonda at the addressing the nations of the world with that beautiful Angela Bassett moment from the trailer. They showed the full scene of that there, and apparently the ending of the scene was the Dora Milaje bringing those soldiers to like in front of the nations as like saying like look at what they're trying to do. And this whole political like war between two nations plotline has me so intrigued because obviously this movie feels like someone's moving chess pieces. Like you have these soldiers, you have them moving, like you have soldiers attempting to steal vibranium, and that ties in somehow into a conflict between Wakanda and Namor. But was the conflict between Wakanda and Namor and the former Atlanteans? I can't remember the name of the Talokan, the people of Talokan in the MCU. Their conflict, and is that conflict all just so that someone, possibly Doctor Doom, can just steal vibranium? Is that what's all this about? Possibly. But I don't know. What do you guys think about... Let's just talk about Wakanda Forever. What do you guys think about the movie? Everything I just said.
Look, everything you just said was the first time I've ever heard any of those words spoken before. So, you know what? That sounds good. Here's the deal. I love Black Panther. It's my favorite MCU movie. I thought the Wakanda Forever trailer that I saw, a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago at this point, was spectacular, incredible. So I'm looking forward to it. All the Talokan, Namor shattering shafts, this is stuff, when I see it, great. But otherwise, I'm just hyped on the general concept. All the little details, I won't get them. I don't know the lore behind any of it. So it'll all go way over my head. I'm excited for it, though.
All right, I guess. I mean, Maddie, Dan, you guys are comic book guys, so
I'm very curious how they're gonna handle the passing of the Black Panther. The Black Panther. I think that's the thing that everyone's kind of like, okay, how is this gonna be done? Because a lot of people like it could go to Shuri, it could go to M'Baku. It's like how are they gonna do this? And that's kind of like my main point of intrigue, I guess.
Because a whole plot point in the first Black Panther film was like the ceremony, the fight, where they're all like pounding their feet and clapping, and they have like essentially that fight to kind of determine who is going to earn the Black Panther title, the power of that flower that gives them the superhuman abilities. So I don't know if that's still going to be a focus. If they're like those surrounding nations are going to be like, it should stay in the family. Yeah, I'm with you. I said I don't want to expand. We talked at length on the first trailer we got. I mean, nothing that you had talked about. I mean, that sounds par for the course with what we've gotten previously. Outside of what we got, doesn't add or decrease my high anticipation of this film now.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing with the heart-shaped herb. We can't do that ceremony anymore because Killmonger burned all the heart-shaped herbs in Black Panther. So here's the thing. I think that to answer both your questions and just statements and thoughts, I think that this movie is going to handle the passing of T'Challa and Chadwick Boseman with a lot of respect and care. Mm-hmm. And I think in universe, they're going to handle the passing of T'Challa with a lot of care and respect. In terms of how we get our next Black Panther, there's only one person that is capable enough to find a way to maneuver around the heart-shaped herb, and that's Shuri. That's hands down Shuri. I love M'Baku. I would love for M'Baku to have a bigger role in this movie. I love Winston Duke. But I think it has to be Shuri because I don't think that it's going to be a ceremony. I don't think it's going to be a democratic thing. I think Wakanda is going to be in trouble. And I think they're going to need someone to step up now that T'Challa's gone. And I think Shuri is going to put a lot of pressure on herself, and she's going to rise to the occasion. It's going to be more of her taking over the mantle as a necessity than it is her like a vote or a tribal ceremony or something like that. She's going to earn the role by really going through it. Because just from the trailer, we saw that some of these battles between Talokan and Wakanda get vicious. Like we saw the throne room flooded in the Wakandan throne room flooded. So we know that Wakanda's getting attacked head on by the people of Talokan and by Namor the Submariner. So I think Shuri, instead of just having the situation being handed to her, I think she's going to have to. It's going to be thrust upon her, like your Tony Starks. It's going to be essentially like she's going to have her back against the wall, and she's going to realize that Wakanda needs Black Panther, that the people of Wakanda need the Black Panther.
Though I do think from these shots, this stuff we've gotten today, I'm more and more believing. While it's certainly going to be feature Black Panther, whether it be Shuri or some surprise that we're not expecting, I think this movie is really going to be about the aspects of Wakanda and those who have a vested interest in it. We are going to have scenes that are focusing on M'Baku. We're going to have scenes clearly focusing on Queen Ramonda, on Shuri, on I'm blanking on Lupita Nyong'o's character's name right now.
No. That's Denai Guerrera. Yeah, no, I'm blanking on it. Okay, we'll get back to it.
Yeah, but Nakia. So it's called Wakanda Forever. So I imagine it's going to be not necessarily snippets or segmented film, but we are going to get a broad stroke on how all the aspects of those who are stakeholders in Wakanda are affected by the death of T'Challa, and two, this war with Namor.
Yeah, like you said, the movie's called Wakanda Forever, and I think Wakanda's going to have their back put against the wall. I think the people of Wakanda, I think this beautiful, technologically advanced, utopian city that we saw in the first Black Panther film is going to get attacked in a way they haven't been attacked in a very, very long time. And these people have to rise up, and they have to push back, and they have to fight, and they have to claw and scratch to keep their history, to keep their honor, to keep all of the things that makes Wakanda special alive. So I think this movie is going to be about the legacy of not only Black Panther, but like you said, of Wakanda, the nation and the people as well. And I think that's, to me, that seems like a really cool idea for a Black Panther sequel. But, time will only tell. This movie's coming sooner than we will realize. It will be here, and it is ending Marvel's Phase 4. But moving on from Wakanda Forever, we have a character that's being introduced in Wakanda Forever called Riri Williams, aka Ironheart. And we got our first bit of information about that series. We have the updated logo. They brought Anthony Ramos on stage along with Dominique Thorne to talk about the series. And they confirmed 100% that he's playing Parker Robbins, aka the Hood. And Kevin Feige kind of said that this series is going to be a dark arts versus technology series, because the Hood is a character that is based in magic. He's based in demonic magic. And Riri Williams, Ironheart, is based in technology. She's a genius. She's another Tony Stark prodigy, MIT, super genius. So I really liked the dichotomy between, dark arts and technology, because that is something we haven't seen yet in the MCU. And both of those things relate to another character in the MCU called Doctor Doom. So I wonder if all of this is leading us to Doom, because that essentially describes his power set. It's technology and dark arts mixed together in alchemy.
All roads lead to Doom.
All roads lead to Doom. But I don't know if you guys know anything about the character of Ironheart or Riri Williams from the comics, or if there's anything about this that really jumped out and excited you guys as much as me. But just let me know your thoughts, and maybe if you have any questions, maybe we could talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, like over the last few months, I've heard references to Ironheart. I'm not familiar with the character beyond those references, but yes, basically like a Tony Stark or like an Iron Man 2.0 basically is essentially what we're getting there, which sounds fun to me. I mean, I hadn't heard about this. The Hood, I believe, is what you said, right? Is
yes.
that what you said it is? Yeah. So I've never heard of this character before today, but I do think the idea of this sort of tech-based, engineering-based hero versus a magic-based villain is a pretty cool idea. Typically, the way a lot of these things work is you have somebody facing sort of like a dark version of themselves. That's like a pretty typical way that these stories go. So actually seeing like, no, these are actually two totally different power sets. They both sort of operate in different ways and draw their power from different sources, I think could be fun, because you can get creative with sort of how those fight scenes play out and stuff like that, or sort of what the conflicts are. And I mean, who doesn't love magic,
Yeah. Quick shout out to All in the Game. Jim Resch, he did play the MIT dean, I think. I don't want to say dean, I'm thinking of Community. But he did play the guy from MIT in Civil War, and he is coming back. He's just said that he's coming back for Ironheart. And that's your link right there that confirms that Riri Williams, like in the comics, is a young graduate of MIT, a genius that graduated, that is in the school at a very young age. And she essentially builds a suit of armor as part of her curriculum just for fun. So that's really cool.
As one does.
Yeah, as one does. But that's her comic book origin, and they really fumbled that. In the comic books, they essentially promoted her as just a character, a girl who, in her dorm room, built an Iron Man suit and proclaimed that she was the next Iron Man after Tony Stark's in the comic book died, not Avengers Endgame died. And I think in the MCU, they're really going to do her character justice. I think they're going to really try and make Riri Williams more of a unique and her own character, like we've seen later on when other writers have taken on the character of Riri Williams. I think that's what the MCU is trying to do. I think Black Panther is going to show us the character with her back against the wall. We're going to have that, built a suit of armor in a cave with a box of scraps moment. And so I really think we're going to get that in Black Panther. But Ironheart's really where she's going to earn the suit, I think. I think we're going to kind of see her intelligence and her quick thinking and really show her earn her role as a superhero. And I think Ironheart's where she's really going to step in and make things her own.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how it adds to the legacy of Tony Stark, because Tony kind of didn't really come around to be like the legend that is Tony Stark, who gave his life to save the world until the very end. So it's curious to see like a student of his, like an MIT genius, kind of like at the same level of intellect of him. Like, what way does she kind of go, and how does that add to Tony's legacy?
Yeah, I mean, Tony Stark is a futurist. Tony was always thinking about the future. He was always thinking about the generation after ours and the world, what the world will be like when he's not here. And I think that this will address that, and I think the show will talk about, well, we don't really have to talk about it next because they didn't really show us anything but a logo and confirmation that's coming. But I think Armor Wars will address the legacy of Tony Stark more than Ironheart. I think Ironheart's going to build Riri Williams as a character, which it should. And I think maybe she will show up at points in Armor Wars to kind of assist Rhodey, and that will deal with the legacy of Tony Stark and him having to deal with other people using his best friend's tech to doing bad things and him trying to stop that. To answer Jerry's question, I don't believe she's not Wakandan in the comics, and I don't believe she's going to be Wakandan in the MCU either. I believe she's going to be on a school study program, like a study abroad type of situation, or a research assignment in Wakanda when we find her in Wakanda Forever. So no, I don't believe so. Yeah, just like All in the Game said, she's from Chicago in the comics. So yeah, I don't believe that we're going to have any ties to Wakanda outside of she works there. She's a brilliant mind.
Is it possible that this is set up to at the end of Black Panther, T'Challa is setting up like a inner city school or something like that, or a research facility or something?
Yeah, in Oakland.
Is it going to tie into that? I think maybe
it's very possible.
Yeah, I think that's what Monty and I had discussed during our first trailer reaction, that there might be a connection. How, like, when they went into, was it LA or wherever they had gone? Oakland, thank you. And yeah, there might be some connection with her from that program, whatever it was. Yeah.
So again, I think we're going to have a lot of connective tissue. I think movies are going to weave into shows and vice versa a lot more now that Marvel really had time to plan out the future of the MCU. They had that like lockdown weekend in like a room with no way of getting out and no TVs and no microphones, and they planned out the next 5 years of the MCU. So I think we're going to see a lot more interconnectivity and a lot more characters weaving in and out of shows and Disney Plus series. So I think Riri Williams is going to be one of those characters that swings from Wakanda Forever into Ironheart into Armor Wars, and we're going to have a nice amount of time spent with that character. But moving on from the armor side of things, the technological sides of things, now we're going Quantumania, baby. Quantumania. With us they brought the cast out on stage. Jonathan Majors, of course, playing Kang the Conqueror, playing all the variants of Kang the Conqueror, hopefully. Brought out Paul Rudd, brought out Evangeline Lilly. They talked about the movie a little bit. Kevin Feige said this will directly link into Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. I would hope so.
Yeah. And he's the main villain.
I would hope so, bro, because Kang's the main baddie in this. So I would really hope that this does lead directly into Kang Dynasty. And I really want Kang to have a presence in this. I was really hoping we'd get to see some footage from this film. They did at D23, we didn't. And in the footage, as described, it says that Cassie has been kidnapped by Kang, and he wants Scott to commit a heist in the quantum realm in order to get Cassie back. So that's interesting. I really love how we're continuing the heist elements of the Ant-Man franchise. And I think
Quantum
that's really
heist.
Cool. Yeah, Quantum Heist. That's why it's called Quantumania, baby.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like the Ocean's 13 at this point of the MCU.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of secrets they're holding close to the chest. We know Bill Murray is going to be in this movie. We know, rumor has it that MODOK's going to be in this movie, so still a lot of stuff we haven't seen. Really wanting to see some footage from this. A little bummed out because I'm a huge fan of the Ant-Man franchise. I'm a huge fan of Scott Lang and Paul Rudd's interpretation of Scott Lang. And I just want to see Jonathan Majors be super intimidating as Kang the Conqueror. I mean, we kind of got a more jovial, lighthearted, trickster-esque, Kang
when he was in the end of Loki.
Yes, in the last episode of Loki. But I really want to see a Thanos-level intimidating Kang the Conqueror. So hopefully we start to see that here. But what are your guys' thoughts on Quantumania in general, Kang the Conqueror, Ant-Man and the Wasp? Go for it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Ant-Man. I'm a sucker for a heist movie. Paul Rudd is fantastic. So like everything's hitting just from like that they always have from the Ant-Man standpoint. What I'm curious about, what exactly does one steal from the quantum realm? Like, what is in there? You know, is this something that somebody else has planted? Like, I'm curious about what exactly that's going to be, because I'm like, okay, quantum realm, that's like smaller than small. So what could be there that would cause some issue or cause some changes? I'm assuming it's going to have something to do with timelines and time travel and time.
Your favorite,
one way or another. Yes, exactly. I
Pauline
love
actually
time
guessed
travel.
it.
No way.
Ooh, maybe it might be a copy of the Quantum of Solace in the quantum realm that they're stealing.
It's going to be the quantum of sausage.
A weird crossover there. But yeah, I don't know. As far as Kang is concerned, like, I don't know. I don't have any major feelings. Major feelings about
major feelings.
Kang one way or the other. So, I'm excited for the movie just based on sort of the promise of the premise, not necessarily based on Kang or anything like that. We'll see where it goes. But
yeah. Sean Wingblade asks, since we didn't get any Fantastic Four news today other than the director, do we think we get Quantum introduced to the Fantastic Four as an origin, or wait till their own film? I hope not. I don't want the quantum realm tied into the origin of the Fantastic Four. I know a lot of people are saying it makes sense. I know a lot of people are theorizing that. Me personally, I'm a comic book guy. Introduce the Negative Zone. Do the Negative Zone. It's right there. It's right in your grasp. I want Annihilus. I want the Annihilation Wave one day. So I would prefer, if we're going to do them being in another dimension or another state of being or in another parallel timeline, I would much rather be the Negative Zone.
Hold on. What is the Negative Zone?
The Negative Zone is a negative zone. That's all you need to know.
It's negative.
It's real like, negative. It's real bad juju.
Like inverse, or like people that are always putting you down and mean to you.
It's essentially another pocket dimension, and they named it the Negative Zone.
It's like a really not chill place to be, essentially. It's like it's not like, don't think of it like the mirror dimension in Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Think of it
it's negative, like you just show up and people start calling you a moron and stuff like that.
There
like,
are not
can we just spread a little positivity here, please? Okay. And they're like, no.
All I would say is don't look at the TripAdvisor reviews for the negative.
One star after one star.
The Negative Zone is an antimatter continuum that exists alongside the continuum Earth occupies.
Yeah.
That's a bunch of words.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
but I mean,
go ahead, Danny.
Other than Kang being a variant of Kang being Nathaniel Richards, I don't see how the two can link. That makes sense. Unless they want to go that way.
I don't want them to merge the franchises. Keep the quantum realm Ant-Man based, and when Ant-Man teams up with the Avengers, I would much rather the Fantastic Four explore their own places. They're explorers. I want them to explore.
I mean, all I know is my podcast can continue now that we don't have a Fantastic Four cast announced yet. So the longer
the pod goes on.
The longer we wait, the pod goes on.
This is something I do want to touch on. My boy All in the Game really covering all the points I want to talk about. He's really just giving me perfect segues, because I did want to bring this up. We know so very little about the quantum realm. We have sneak peeks of things here and there in the background of shots from films. We know that there are whole cities that exist in the quantum realm. We know that Janet was able to survive in the quantum realm for 30 years. So we know that there's more going on there than meets the eye. So it is a very curious thing to ask, what does Kang want? I'm sure it has something to do with time travel, because Kang's a time traveler. Or yes, Dan.
I think I know what he wants.
What does he want?
I think he wants the essence of Walton Goggins' charisma. So I think that's how we're going to get Walton Goggins return in Quantumania. They're going to go to the quantum realm, steal his charisma, and give it to Kang.
Is this kind of like Austin Powers Mojo?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Okay.
It's a perfect segue to get us Walton Goggins back, which is what the MCU really needs.
More Walton Goggins.
It needs more.
Less of his actual character, but just more Walton Goggins.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish Walton Goggins would just do voices like of aliens in the MCU. and it would just be great. More Walton Goggins, Goggins all day, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, like I was just saying, there's definitely way more to the quantum realm, and I love that this movie is going to explore that, because we really need to explore the quantum realm after all the things that happened in Ant-Man and the Wasp, where we have all these, where it's focused so heavily on the quantum realm, but we don't really learn anything about it. And Janet comes back with these like healing powers that she was able to heal Ghost, and so I want to learn more about that. I want to learn more about Janet's time there. I want to learn more as in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. I kind of forgot what I was going to say there. But do you guys want to cover anything else about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, or should we move on?
No, I agree. Again, All in the Game's killing it. Yes, bring him back as Boyd Crowder from FX is Justified, one of the greatest
100%.
shows ever.
I mean, I hope All in the Game has a live stream after we're done here, so I can jump on and watch. But...
Show us all up.
in the next live stream, All in the Game is going to be where Zach is right now.
To be fair, I mean, once we're done with Star Wars, I'm like, okay.
He's just like, yeah, you know, I like this in theory. I like it in concept. I like Paul Rudd. Who doesn't love Paul Rudd? He's people's sexiest man alive.
It's a great
That's
question.
okay.
But you know what? We're moving on. We're moving on to a special, not a TV show, not a movie, a special, a Halloween special that's coming out in a month from now. And that's Werewolf by Night. There were a lot of rumors going around, a lot of things being heard about this series, and pretty much all of those things were confirmed when we got our first trailer for the series today at D23, and I loved it. It's classic horror movie vibes, cheap stages, cheap effects. I love that he looks
cheap
like
looking.
Yeah, I love that it's Teen Wolf-esque werewolf suit. I love how we're deeping into obscure Marvel characters. Man-Thing. We saw Man-Thing in the trailer, which got us really excited when we watched it. So I really love it. We got confirmation that on the casting, let me just look this up really quick. Yeah, we have Gael Garcia Bernal as Jack Russell, and we have Laura Donnelly, who's playing Elsa Bloodstone, who's essentially a Buffy the Vampire Slayer like demon monster hunter.
Dark Hunter, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really cool. It's really campy, really fun. What did you guys think of Werewolf by Night?
I was excited to see Michael Giacchino, that he had walked out on stage, presuming they didn't say anything yet, but presumably that he was going to be scoring the fantastic score. See what I did there? But it actually came out that he's directing. He's directing Werewolf by Night, and this very much had a feel, like a horror feel of a score of his, which I loved. I mean, you know how people say they're big horror people? I'm small horror people. I am not a horror fan in general, but I loved like the old school kind of monster of the week, monster movie vibes that we were getting from this. And it's certainly something had zero, I mean, probably not bad interest or no interest, but just zero excitement for this. And this trailer, it's like, okay, I want to watch this now.
Yeah.
Is it like a full series or what is it? It's just
a special.
It's okay.
As far as we know,
special,
yeah, it's a Halloween special, but it's the MCU. So you introduce a character like Werewolf by Night, and you're introducing characters like Blade and Moon Knight, and you never know where that character might show up again.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of like with What If. Like a lot of people kind of thought, okay, this is just a throwaway thing, and then you have Multiverse of Madness, and it's like, oh, we probably should go back and watch that. I do like how the MCU is playing with other genres, because you have like something like WandaVision, which is very much like an old American sitcom. And now you have something that's kind of like Bram Stoker's Dracula, but done in the MCU. I think that's a really cool little thing for them to try. They're not above being like, hey, let's go and try this thing real quick and see how it does. See how we do with it. If it doesn't work, cool. We probably won't do it again, but we're going to try it anyway.
Yeah, and I really am hoping for this. I really would love a Moon Knight cameo. I don't think we're going to get one, but Moon Knight Oscar Isaac, baby. Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night are tied together In the comics, that's where Moon Knight first appeared. He first appeared in Werewolf by Night as someone hired to hunt the werewolf.
Sorry,
Well,
this just reminds me of one of my favorite like comic photoshops of it. Just Moon Knight walking down some stairs and say like, "Where are you? Like, where are you, Dracula? Give me my fucking money." Like it's
Yeah.
I thought for the longest time it was actually in a comic, and then I learned it wasn't. But I still love it. So like I would die if there was an actual shot of Oscar Isaacs in Moon Knight walking saying, "Where's my fucking money, Dracula?"
That would be great. I mean, we did get Mike Coulter saying some of the very weird Luke Cage 1970s comic lines in the Netflix Luke Cage series. So I wouldn't put it past them to reference some of that in this very campy version of Werewolf by Night. I really like the concept too. I really like how the series is essentially. For the life of me, I couldn't think of who the woman was in the trailer, who gathered all of these demon hunters and monster hunters together. But I love how it's essentially Werewolf by Night trapped in a haunted mansion or something, taking on all of these demon monster hunter people. And how that's going to introduce us to very obscure Marvel characters like Man-Thing and like Elsa Bloodstone. So I think this is going to be a really, really cool series. Or, just a special. But yeah, do you guys have any other thoughts on Werewolf by Night? Or am I just really way too hyped about it? Because
I thought it looked pretty radical. To Dan's point, it looks cheap. I hope for the MCU's sake they didn't spend too much money making something look like they didn't spend much money. Because you could just do it the old-fashioned way and not spend much money. So
yeah,
but we'll see.
Bye, Jerry. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Jerry.
See you, Jerry.
Yeah, but I'm excited for that. Next, we got a sneak peek at. I have Secret Invasion Armor Wars written down, but really, what I really want to talk about is Secret Invasion, because that trailer came to play. It reminded me of the trailers for Captain America: The Winter Soldier. It definitely feels like a political thriller. We know that Nick Fury is heavily featured in this. He's going to be the lead. There's some really cool shots in here with him and Talos taking on the Skrulls. We kind of get some more history on why has Nick Fury not been on Earth? What's keeping Nick Fury away from Earth? Why has he been with the Skrulls, with Talos on that space station that we saw him on at the end of Far From Home? These are really things that I want to know the answer to. So I'm really excited for the show, and this trailer made me even more excited.
I mean, when I saw Far From Home, I just assumed he was on vacation.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a bigger meaning behind it. I'd like to know also.
Apparently there's a lot bigger meaning if this is to be believed.
I'm one thing I'm looking forward to actually is getting more Maria Hill. I love me some Kobe Smulders.
She's great.
I think she's great. I think she's great in the role. So she was pretty salty at the beginning of this trailer. Like, I tried calling, you didn't answer. Why did you answer now? So I'm excited to see their dynamic, if that's changed at all over time with Fury's absence.
Yeah.
More of that. I'm excited to see where the change in the Skrulls have come from. And Ben Mendelsohn's character, I'm blanking on it right now. But
Talos,
thank you. He seems to still be on, I'll say, humanity's side. And again, I know Zach is a big Krennic fan, always some more Ben Mendelsohn in our lives. But just to see, if there's any sort of struggle with him and his home world in this series.
Yeah, I mean, fingers crossed that at some point we get a scene where Talos just screams at somebody, "We stand here amidst my achievements, not yours." I mean, that would really do it for me.
Don't choke. I just hope he doesn't choke on his aspirations.
I feel like he has to say it to Kira.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I was expecting this, Paul. I was expecting Hercules, and no announcement. I was expecting a lot. I'm a little deflated. I'm a little disappointed. But hey, life goes on, and so do we. We have to keep talking about Marvel stuff because they just talked about a lot of stuff. They kept everything exclusive to D23 for the most part, except a few things here and there, which was also a big bummer because I wanted to see some footage. Moving on, we got some new information about Loki season 2. Dan, did you hear who's going to be in it?
Yeah. Okay. Kehue. Shit. Oh, see, I'm going to mess it up. See, you did that. You put me on the spot.
Quan.
Man. Yeah, Quan. Oh, man. I was so prepared. I was preparing for this, and then I didn't stick the landing.
I literally told you I was going to throw it to you.
I know, but I forgot Loki was next. I thought we were going to talk about Indiana Jones.
No, not Indiana Jones. Not Indiana Jones. We're talking about Loki season 2. So, essentially, we're informed that it's going to start right where season 1 left off. We're going to have Loki with Hunter B-52 and Mobius, and they don't know who he is or why he's at their version of the TVA. And essentially, this Owen Wilson comes. They brought Owen Wilson out, and they brought all of these people out, and they said that this season's going to give us answers. That we're going to know why they're where they are, and not where we left Mobius before the time change. You know, so Loki season 1 was very strong to me. I know you guys have feelings about it. I loved Loki season 1.
I actually kind of liked it. My one thing is, I hope Mobius gets his jet ski.
Honestly, I need it.
So it's all I hope for.
It's like the Babu Frick of the MCU. I need it. It's S tier content, and if we don't get it, yeah, a jet ski, dude. It's the one thing he wants in life, in existence.
Okay.
He wants to ride a jet ski, dude.
All right. I mean, that seems pretty attainable.
For a man who has time travel powers, like
he's got to stick to the mission. Okay, he's mission focused.
For a man that has a drawer full of infinity stones.
Yeah. They're paperweights.
See, we are in some sort of divergent timeline. If you and Paul are agreeing on things,
yeah, I know.
Yeah, I was just saying, what the hell is happening?
It's very scary. It's terrifying.
You agreed about Hercules. You agreed about Loki.
Yeah, I loved Loki season 1. I really did.
I was liking it. I will not say I loved it up until the last episode. It needed to end an episode earlier. I have it. My big issue, as much as I love a lot of the MCU Disney Plus stuff, is they feel like segues and not seasons of television. Mm-hmm. And if they're going to call it television, each season should feel like it has a start, middle, ending, and then can still continue on and tell more of the same story. And Loki, I feel, didn't stick the landing with that last episode. If it would have ended, I would have loved it a lot more if it had ended a season earlier or an episode earlier, and we would have sprung board from there. Kind of like how Lost ended with them looking down the hatch. I would have rather had that be the cliffhanger than that little bit extra. But
yeah, I think something you guys have to keep in mind is that there was a lot of pivoting being done on these first couple of Marvel Disney Plus series because of the pandemic, because of restrictions, because of actors and budget restrictions and just availability and COVID protocols. So it feels off at times, but I think it's definitely forgivable when you take all of that into account. Because go ahead.
I would say I'm more forgiving of like some of the minutia within the story, some of how scenes have to be shot, stuff like that, than the actual full scale story itself. Not to diverge to like Falcon and Winter Soldier, I get you don't want to do a pandemic story and how that really screwed things up. With Loki, nothing about the pandemic or how it was shot, I think, was ultimately impacted by COVID. Certainly the timeline was, and what they need to kind of keep close to the chest. But I think there were just some missteps. There were a lot I liked, but I think Loki I'm not nearly as high on as some of the other Disney Plus shows, or as high on as a lot of just people are.
And like for me, the real bummer about Loki for me is that I like all of the characters. I like sort of what the characters' motivations are and sort of what they're doing and how they're interacting with one another and sort of the production of the show. The things that I like, the time travel stuff, I was always going to have a problem with. Like, that's just par for the course for me. Anything time travel is I'm not going to love it that much. And then to Dan's point, I did not think they stuck the landing. I thought it sort of ended on, I wouldn't even call it a cliffhanger, because it was like, we weren't even on the cliff. We were just like on our way to the cliff. And then they were just like, and now we're done. And you're like, wait, what do you mean we're done? Like we're like right in the middle of the story. It missed on those two levels for me. But I mean, I'm excited for it coming back, because I would like to pick it back up and sort of see where we're going. You know, obviously the time travel stuff I'll just have to deal with, but at least sort of completing the story, I hope we're able to do that.
Yeah. And what Feige did say was that season 2 of Loki will directly tie into the multiverse saga, as opposed to, like, I guess you could say season 1 was the kicking off point of the multiverse saga, because that is when the multiverse was created, is Loki season 1. Season 2 will tie directly into everything that comes after, which I think is nice, because like I said, I want a little bit. It doesn't have to be hyper interconnected. Like, even Miss Marvel was connected in its own ways. Moon Knight was connected in its own ways to the grander MCU, very minimally, but there are some connections there. And then especially She-Hulk is connected to the larger MCU. So I like how these Disney Plus series are starting to feel more like complete shows, but also at the same time they're starting to push the universe out a little bit and expand the world out a little bit into the grander MCU. Yeah. All right. Moving on. I guess we're all in agreement.
Yep.
All right, guys, and now we have the biggest whiff of D23. Your boy Kevin Feige.
The pod goes on.
He introduced Matt Shackman, and then he said, "I have no other news on the Fantastic Four today."
The fact that he didn't even bring Matt Shackman on stage. He just pointed him out in the crowd and was like, "Oh, there's Matt Shackman. By the way, he's directing Fantastic Four. Yep, you guys are getting nothing else today."
Which leads me
don't care.
Which leads me to believe two things. One, that was a swerve, that they had originally planned to do this, and for some reason they changed their mind. Because I'm sure Matt Shackman was supposed to be on that stage, and I'm sure cast announcements were supposed to happen today. There's a reason why they changed their mind, and I really am curious as to what that is.
I think I know exactly what it was.
What is it?
They heard my episode of the Fancast at 4 podcast, and were like, Whoa, we gotta rethink what we're doing here.
The neutron star.
Yeah. They were like, neutron star, we gotta make that happen. That's my thought. It makes sense to me. That's what happened, but who can know for sure?
Kevin Feige's obviously a big fan of the Fancast at 4 podcast. He wanted to give it a couple more episodes.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
I mean, the only thing that really excites me about this announcement today is I actually get to do an episode of the Fantastic Four podcast.
To be fair, we would continue. The pod would go on. We'd probably still do some fan casting of the Fantastic Four for a time, but we would eventually make a switch into other Marvel characters.
Yeah,
but I'm just glad that my episode will come out before the official reveal of the cast.
Unless Feige's like tomorrow, just like, hey, by the way.
It was just a prank, bro. It was just a prank. But yeah, it's definitely, it's almost as if it was done intentionally just to say, like, don't ever think you know what we're doing. Like, don't ever think you have us figured out. I'm Kevin Feige. We're Marvel Studios. How dare you? I run this.
And it was kind of like us Star Wars fans last year with Disney Plus Day. There was so many articles that were like, "Oh, they're gonna bring out Kenobi footage. They're gonna announce a Crimson Dawn show," and we were all like, "Oh shit!"
Which I still want, by the way. I want the Crimson Dawn show.
I want the Crimson Dawn show. Give me more Kira and Maul, but like, it's just a case of like the creators being like, "Don't think you have one up on us. You will never have one up on us. You may think you know what we're going to do, but you don't know shit."
Which is a really bad strategy, by the way. That's how they killed Westworld on HBO. So I don't know if you guys know that story. We don't have to get into it, but they didn't like the fans figuring things out, and then they ruined their show because of it.
Stay tuned to the MontyVerse for Zach's very in-depth video on what ruined Westworld.
The Rezaction.
Yes.
The Rezaction.
I love Sean's comment. the Kevin Feige who bought us a Ralph Boner, like he's the amateur. I did love that. I did think that was great that he turned Quicksilver into a dick joke.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that was very cool.
King Feige. Listen, what are we gonna do? Kevin Feige just looked at what was going on here, just like not feeling it, not giving you shit. You want the Fantastic Four? Not today, and that's it.
Not
Now
this
we're moving
day.
on.
Not this day.
Not here.
Going-
Not now.
Going full Aragorn.
Not today.
Not this day.
But anyway, what we did get today is, well, they got today. What they got today was an exclusive look at the Echo Disney Plus series. They brought the entire cast on stage, including my boy, Vinny D, Vincent D'Onofrio, who's returning to the role of the Kingpin in Echo series. Because he does have a very strong relationship with Maya Lopez, aka Echo, not only in the comics, but already established in the MCU, as he was considered her uncle. So last time we saw these two characters, she is aiming a gun at him. We heard a gunshot. And this trailer showed Wilson Fisk to be wearing an eye patch over one eye. So we don't know how she hit him, how the bullet landed, but somehow he's lost sight or maybe an eye in one of his eyes. And that was shown, as well as it was stated that the series has a heavy Native American influence to it, which I really appreciate, because a lot of the best Echo comics had a lot of really interesting art and had a lot of Native American influence to them as well, a lot of her solo stuff. So I'm really curious to see how they deal with that. I love Delacqua Cox as Maya Lopez, as Echo. So I'm really excited to see more of her in the role. And we're getting more Vincent D'Onofrio, and we're getting more Charlie Cox in this. So what's the complaint about? This is going to be good.
Yeah. I say you pretty much covered it all. Like you said, I don't have a lot of I have not consumed a lot of Echo material outside of kind of her recent run in Jason Aaron's X-Men. So I'm appreciating learning about the character more. The stuff they announced here was really cool. I'm always for more Wilson Fisk in the MCU. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the show. Again, not at near the top of my list of things I'm looking forward to, but I am certainly looking forward to it nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I know about Wilson Fisk is that he is entirely invincible. If I'm not mistaken, I saw him get hit by a car doing like 87 miles per hour, and he was totally fine after that. So I'm assuming Echo did shoot him in the face, and it just sort of like scratched his cornea or something, and that's why he has the eye patch now.
Yeah.
When full Superman Returns, where he gets shot in the eye with the minigun and it bounces off.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And as much as I love Michael Clark Duncan, him being the only good thing about that piece of shit Daredevil movie, Vinny D is Wilson Fisk. Like, I think he loves playing that role more than anything in the world. And I'm just glad he keeps getting to do it.
You want to know what's a great story that shows me how much Vincent D'Onofrio loves playing the Kingpin? He went to Marvel Studios and he was like, he brought the issue of Wilson Fisk wearing the red floral Hawaiian shirt, the Spider-Man comic to Marvel. He's like, I want to wear this. I want to wear this in Hawkeye. And they're like, sure, go ahead, do it. So he loves the character. He constantly promotes Marvel properties, which I respect. Not just the ones that he's in, all of them. He constantly praises them and says great things about them. So he clearly enjoys the brand, clearly enjoys the other shows, not just the ones that he's playing Wilson Fisk in, and he obviously enjoys playing the character. So give us more of him. And speaking of more of him, we got a brand new logo for Daredevil Born Again. I'm so gosh darn excited.
This is it for me. This is the one.
This is it for a lot of people, Manny. This is the one that people were waiting for. We saved Daredevil. The fandom saved Daredevil. It's back, baby. Charlie Cox came on stage. Wilson Fisk, Vinny D'Onofrio also there as well. The shooting's going to start sometime in 2023 for the series, and we're getting 24 episodes. What more do you need? I can't wait for this. Holy crap. Guys, thoughts on Daredevil Born Again?
Is this going to be the same continuity as the Netflix Daredevil?
It's going to be as far as the things that I've heard, it's going to be a loose continuity. You can look at it as if things happen the same here, But if they want to change something up or they do have to make a change, it can be explained away as these are variants that are very similar to the ones we saw on the Netflix series, but there are slight changes. As long as we do not recast Bullseye, because I loved Wilson Bethel as Bullseye.
Do not bring Colin Farrell back.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, please do. MultiVerse Colin Farrell.
I was going to say,
I
do think that now that we're in the multiverse era, you can just sort of mess with continuity however you want to and just say they're variants or whatever. So that makes sense.
I want a Daredevil No Way Home with him, Ben Affleck, duking it out. Please,
no. Just
with Elodie Young, Jennifer
Yes.
Garner, and the rumored Isa Gonzalez as Elektra, duking it out. All of it.
I
I'm
100%
kidding,
agree with you.
I'm kidding, but only sort of.
I'm over here just like, can we just get regular Daredevil for a while? Can we just get Daredevil Classic for a little bit? Like, I missed him for so long. And you're over here, you want to inject him into the multiverse. Let me get like 5 episodes. Let me get 5 episodes of Daredevil Classic first, and then we'll have him make a Daredevil mobile and fly to the moon or whatever they want to do with him.
I am super curious to see how they're gonna handle the Born Again story plot, because that shit gets real dark.
And they already did it. Season 3 of the Daredevil Netflix show was heavily based off of Born Again.
Yeah, they missed out the stuff of like Karen Page becoming a heroin addict and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think that plays well.
Yeah, it's just kind of like how there's so much stuff that they have to like swerve around and be like, okay, we can't really show that. But yeah, I think it's going to be great. The only thing, okay, 2 things. As Dan mentioned, Elodie Young, bring back Elodie Young, please, please, please.
She was great.
And 2, keep the hallway fight scenes, because the Daredevil stunt team do them so well. They do them so well. There's no crappy like fast cuts to avoid the action. It's all one long, smooth flowing scene, and I appreciate that in a Marvel property.
Yeah, me too. I think Daredevil has some of the best stunt work of any series, and I really want them to really bring that back. And I think the Born Again title is more of like a tongue-in-cheek reference, like Spider-Man Homecoming. It is Daredevil is born again. Daredevil is born again under Papa Feige's thumb and Marvel Studios, and now he's just here. He's here to just. I love seeing him. I love that little featurette for She-Hulk we got on Disney Plus Day. That showed a bit of dialogue and showed him in character in She-Hulk. I'm just really excited. Give me as much Matt Murdock. Give me Charlie Cox everywhere. I don't care if you overuse him for the next 2 years. I'm ready.
In 18 episodes, we're gonna get a lot.
Yeah, a lot of Daredevil.
18 episodes of Daredevil, She-Hulk, Echo. We're gonna be seeing a lot of Charlie.
I'm happy, but I want it. I want more Charlie. But you guys, any other thoughts on Daredevil Born Again? All right.
As as Kylo Ren said in the end of Last Jedi, more.
We have our biggest reveal of the panel, I guess. It was a big reveal, but also disappointing because it's definitely a bit weird. But we have the you know what? Before we even do that, let's talk about Captain America. Captain America: New World Order. We got a brand new logo for the film. We had Carl Lumbly and Danny Ramirez join Anthony Mackie on stage, confirming that Joaquin Torres, aka probably the new Falcon, and Isaiah Bradley will be returning for the film as part of the supporting cast. And out of nowhere, we got confirmation that Tim Blake Nelson is returning as the leader for a Captain America movie. After all of the speculation that he was going to be in She-Hulk, just nope, we're getting him for Captain America, which I think is an interesting swerve. And I don't know what the intention is there, but I'm very curious to see what they do with him. But what do you guys think of the news that we got about Captain America: New World Order?
I have no thoughts. I don't know anything about this.
All right.
So,
I mean, I think as surprised as you are that the leader is going to be in here. I think there's some other Captain America villains I would have liked to see announced, but I'm really kind of excited to see Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie back with the Shield, and how the world's going to react probably poorly to him, and how the commentary on that. So yeah, because I mean, I really love the comic book story. Unfortunately, with how it deals with having Captain America portrayed or don the outfit from a black man, and I mean, we're just seeing it with reactions to like Little Mermaid, how fucking stupid people can be.
Yeah.
And so if they're getting so upset about a Little Mermaid, again, a mermaid, like having Captain America now be a black man, like there's a reason there needs to be movies about like this and the commentaries that's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the Shield back here, Captain America is a top tier Marvel franchise for me. It means a lot to me. The Shield means a lot to me. The characters mean a lot to me. I love the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think I defend the Falcon and the Winter Soldier more than most people. I think it's a very good series. I love Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson is just such a good guy. He's a good guy, a great character, and Anthony Mackie does such a great job of portraying him. I really want to see him we saw him running away from the legacy of Captain America. This movie, I want to see him deal with the fallout of taking that and what it means to him, and what it means to the people of this country, and what it means to the people of the world. Because the Captain America shield in the comics is more than just a symbol of America. It's a symbol for everyone. And I really want to see Sam Wilson embody that in this film the way that Steve Rogers did in the original Captain America trilogy.
Yeah. And I think we're seeing now, especially with She-Hulk as well, that Marvel aren't afraid to essentially like throw it in your face and be like, hey, like, you guys are being stupid. Like, we see the Twitter comments, we see the conversations and the stupid arguments you guys have. And guess what? We're going to do it anyway. So either watch or don't watch. If you don't watch, we don't care. We're still going to make a shitload of money, and we're still going to make more of these. So if you don't want to watch, sucks to be you.
Exactly. Boom.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. But moving on, this is probably our big reveal of the day. And that's the Thunderbolts. We were given a graphic of the team. Not only a graphic of the team, but a full list of the roster, which includes Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp, Red Guardian from Black Widow, Yelena Belova from Black Widow, U.S. Agent from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Taskmaster from Black Widow, and Bucky Barnes, a.k.a. Sebastian Stan, the Winter Soldier himself, will be returning for the Thunderbolts, which I find interesting. It's an interesting lineup. I don't think out of all the characters people anticipated to be in this lineup, I don't think anyone expected these characters.
I expected some of them. I would certainly Yelena, Bucky, U.S. Agent.
Well, yeah, I mean like this combination of
no, not the full scope. But yeah, Ghost, Taskmaster, surprising. What's Dennis Hopper's? Not Dennis Hopper. I'm thinking Hopper from Stranger Things. Red Guardian. David Harbour's character. Man, we've been on a long time. My brain is starting to get fuzzy. Yeah. I think he's the biggest surprise for me. Mostly, I mean, I liked Yelena. I liked him in like the characters, but Black Widow overall was not the best MCU movie out there. So to go very heavy on Black Widow characters here was kind of surprising, especially a very reviled portrayal of Taskmaster.
Yeah.
And that's one where I do agree. Like, just the portrayal of Taskmaster was bad, and it has nothing to do with Olga Kurylenko.
Yeah.
Is that nothing to do with her performance? Just what she was given to do or not do was not interesting. So to reinforce this in Thunderbolts, I hope whoever takes over does a better job with the character is all I can hope for.
I think this reads very much like a Clone Wars move for Star Wars, where it's like, okay, we have these characters that we think can be very interesting characters, but we didn't do them justice in their films. So
bring them back
we're gonna bring them back and give people a chance to actually learn about them and become fans of them, because then you can go back and watch, a Black Widow movie and be like, oh yes, these are characters that I care about now, and be a bit more invested in their story when you watch those movies again. So I think they've seen it work before, and they think, hey, this is a chance for us to sort of rebuild, these characters into something that people actually care about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
on the game makes a good point.
This was my biggest shock. This was my biggest surprise. Yeah. No Zemo.
Maybe they're just saving him for like a trailer or something, but that did surprise me that they didn't even mention Zemo.
I mean, maybe he goes back to being an antagonist with the Power Broker with who knows, maybe he's in the movie but not part of the team. Or
I don't know. I don't know the canon, but Zemo seems like too evil to me.
In comics, certainly. It would it's all villains that become Thunderbolts in many different iterations.
But I feel like the rest of those villains they're more like anti-hero or sort of like
in
the equivalent of a gray Jedi or something, not like straight up evil. Like
in the comic books, in the comic books, at least in its first iteration, it was very much kind of the Suicide Squad of Marvel, where it was more villainous, like bad guys.
Right.
This lineup is certainly more how you described it, more anti-heroes, or not quite the worst of the worst, but still kind of bad, like assassins, bad, like they've people who have done bad things but might not be inherently evil.
Yeah. And the tagline.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I would say, and within the context of the MCU, I think Zemo falls into that. Like his means were very extreme, but he was not. I don't think his overall desire was ultimately evil. Maybe villainous, but not evil.
Yeah, I mean, and the tagline for this movie was that they led into this cast reveal with a card that read, "In a world without the Avengers, that doesn't mean there's not a team of superheroes or a team of heroes or a team or something like that." And then it shows us the Thunderbolts. And so I think Val's trying to make this a marketable team of heroes. So maybe someone like Zemo, who is too evil, as Zach said, wouldn't kind of fit the agenda of this movie the way that, U.S. Agent is like a redemption story. Like these are a redemption story, more so where it's easier to be believed that there is redemption still to be had. Yeah, I mean, Zemo did assassinate the leader of a nation just for the lulz,
right.
Just to take down the Avengers, and so that's really interesting. I kind of was expecting a little bit more, but it definitely has me curious. Definitely has me curious to see where they go with this. Yeah, but anybody else have any thoughts on the Thunderbolts?
Just with what we got, I don't think there's much more to say. We haven't gotten any sort of major synopsis, or we would by no means have any sort of trailer yet. So, I think that it is what it is.
Fair enough. I'm just glad we got Bucky back. I like Bucky.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, the ones without masks on, Ghost I liked, but they're all very likable characters. I even Wyatt Russell, I liked him, and I want to see more of him. So I think that that they picked a good differentiation between. These seem like more street level heroes, so they're probably going to be more of like a tactical team. But who knows? We'll see where that goes. We'll see.
Kind of like what they wanted to do with the Defenders, but kind of missed a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I missed a lot. Missed the target by a lot on that one.
A lot of it.
But finishing up the Marvel panel, there was some footage of the Marvels, but we didn't get to see it.
We did not get to see it.
So I don't know what there is to talk about it other than the film itself, which I'm really excited about. I'm sure that we're going to delve deeper into the negabands, which I'm sure Kamala Khan is wearing. I'm sure that's what she has on her wrist. She has one of them on, and this film is going to show us where the other one is. I don't know. It's going to delve into the creed more. It's going to delve into Kamala Khan's the origin of her powers more. we're gonna have a buddy cop movie between Kamala Khan, Carol Danvers, and Monica Rambeau, and I'm here for it. I'm excited. You guys have any thoughts about the Marvels?
Nothing that we haven't necessarily talked about post Ms. Marvel. I'm excited to see these characters again, kind of whether we got a body swap, a teleportation thing from the tease at the end of Ms. Marvel. But otherwise, yeah, I'm liking this combination of characters. And whenever we do get a trailer or some footage, I'm sure it'll boost that enthusiasm.
Yeah, I just want them to make the body swap make sense. I don't understand what's going on there.
All right.
I just need answers. Okay.
Get this man some
Somebody
answers.
tell me what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it, Feige. Get the man some answers.
And keep listening to his episode of the Fantastic Four podcast.
Yeah,
Yes, please.
Sure. But I think that's gonna wrap
what
up.
The hell? All in the game? Spoilers, bro.
What?
He wanted answers. He wanted
I
hearing.
did say I wanted answers. Okay.
Thank you, all in the game. All in the game. The fifth member of the MontyVerse panel
Apparently, yeah.
today just totally said, "Hey Zach, you're a dingus."
He told
This
me
is
to
why
get
they
good.
stopped. Get good. He said, "Count my abs."
Yeah.
All right. But, guys, I think that's going to be it for our D23 panel coverage. Dan, where can the people find you?
You can find me twice a month hosting the Fancastic 4 podcast, the best Fancastic 4 fan casting podcast on the internet, presumably. You can find it at Fancastic 4. My personal Twitter is dhouse77. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube. And I'm on the MontyVerse a lot, reacting, reviewing, discussing nerdy shit.
Yeah. Maddie, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at MattyGunner, Instagram Matty_Gunner. You can find my band Mourner on all DSPs, and you can find me every Tuesday on the POD Project's YouTube channel for Class Action, a show where we take a movie and another movie, character, another character, director, put them against each other in a set amount of categories and determine a winner. Next week, we are doing UK gangster movie versus US gangster movie. It's going to be Snatch versus Goodfellas.
That's interesting.
Fun.
What a tease. What a tease. Zach, where can the people find you?
Let's see. You can find me on Twitter at Hi, my name is Zach M. Tweeting about McGriddles. And you can find me here on the MontyVerse doing reactions and whatnot.
And you guys can find me here on the MontyVerse, on socials, everywhere at the MontyVerse. If you like the video, make sure to give it a huge thumbs up before you go. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe to get tons of notifications and more content like this. Until next time, guys, stay